friends, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to episode 4 of the HR series. Today I will be discussing the topic of resume tips. So if this is something that interests you and you want to learn a little bit more on how to tailor your resume to get that HR position, stay tuned. We're going to jump right in and let's get started. Okay, so first of all, if you are with any job, not just HR, you want to tailor your resume to fit the job that you're applying for. I would caution not to have a very long resume. And me personally, I don't like to put anything beyond 10 years. If you're fairly new to the work field, then you won't have that problem. But if you're like me and you're a seasoned professional, you've been in the field or been working for over a certain amount of time, you don't want to date yourself. So I would caution about going back more than 10 years. Now, with that being said, I have HR experience that predates 10 years. So some things you could do, you could list them and just not put dates beside it, or you could at the bottom of your resume you could notate that you have previous experience in the HR field and information is available upon request. However you want to date that, or in your interview, should you get an interview, you could mention that too, that you do have previous experience that you didn't list on your resume because you wanted to avoid making it very lengthy. So you figure out what works best for the situation, but that's just what I would caution. Now you can always list it, but I'm just being honest. When I was a recruiter, if your resume was over 3 pages, I probably didn't look at all of it. So just keep that in mind. You also, like going to length, I would be careful about how wordy it is. Bullet points are very good, or short statements are good. You don't want to give too many details, but you want to give enough to show that you know the job. I would also, when you're listing your education, I would not put your dates of graduation. Again, that tells how old you are. Like with me, I didn't put my high school on there, but I put where I attended college, my major, and my graduation, degree. And I did that for my master's as well. And if they ask, I will provide that information. But again, you don't want to give your age. That's unfortunately, some people look at age and they shouldn't. I'm not saying it's right, but they do. I'm just keeping it 100 with you guys. Also, when you're at the heading of your I'm in my teacher mode. In the heading of your resume, when you put your name, I would just put your name and your email address and your contact phone numbers. I would not put your address. Again, guys, unfortunately, some people look at where you live and make assumptions that may or may not be true. So I caution, and just for safety reasons, don't put where you live on your resume. If they want to interview you, they can reach you by email or your phone number. Nobody's mailing you anything. And if you get to that step where they need to mail you an employment packet, that's different. But just on your resume, I would caution against using your address. Or use a P.O. box. That works. Also, now going to the meat of your resume, and if you're applying for an HR position, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Whew. Hold on, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, it went away. So for HR jobs, if you're new to the field, and I've mentioned this in the previous vlogs, you want to highlight anything you are doing or have done that could translate over to HR. So if you're in accounting, you could show, how that relates to an HR position you're applying for. So you want to tailor look at the job description for what you're applying for and kind of see if you can work those buzzwords or those statements into your resume. Now, I had two resumes. When I was a teacher, I had a teacher resume, and then when I switched over to HR, I have an HR resume. So I don't have my teaching stuff on my HR resume. So you want to keep everything, don't give too much. So, if you've worked in accounting, you also worked in retail, like I wouldn't put all that on your resume. Whatever job you're trying to get, tailor your resume for those positions that fit that. And as far as after you've put all your information in, I would put anything that, even if you didn't do the job function, but you assisted somebody or you sat on a committee, add that into your resume. That you will be surprised how that may help. Like with me, the first one job, I just assisted with a HRIS transition. Getting a new HRIS or human resources computer system. The second job, I actually did that. So when I put that on my resume for the first job that I assisted, they asked me more about it. And when they hired me, guess who was over that project? Me. So that was another thing I could add to my resume, that my next position, I actually facilitated a HRIS upgrade. So, just things like that. Also, many of us are in social organizations or Greek organizations. I would again caution you not to put that on your resume. This is a professional resume, and not saying your organization isn't professional. I'm not saying that at all. I'm in a Greek organization, but I don't have that on my resume. You would not know that until you got to know me, and if I possibly, start working there, and in conversation it comes up. But that, I don't advertise that. But I will say this. Sometimes that can help you, but you don't want to make assumptions. So say I'm applying for a job. This person is in the same organization as me, but I don't go in knowing that. But I may see something on their desk or something on their, bag, or maybe they have a little pin on or something. You can slide it in that way. But I would not say, put it on your resume. I just would not. I would caution you, because you never know. But what I would add are any professional organizations that you're in. Like I'm in the Society for Human Resource Management. So on my resume, I have that noted that I'm a member of there. And I also have my certification. So any certifications you have, any, memberships that are professional, I would add that. Any licenses you have, I would put that. Now, again, I was licensed in Maryland to teach, but I did not have that on my resume for my HR. Now, when I applied for my adjunct professor position at Strayer, I included that I am licensed in Maryland. Now, I've let that lapse because I don't plan to teach in public schools anymore. I'm at the collegiate level, so I don't need my license. But just another fact. So I know I've kind of jumped around a little bit, so let me go back and just summarize for you guys. So first, at the top of your resume, name, phone number, email only. Make it a professional email too, guys. Not sexygirl32 at Hotmail, whatever. Cool dude 92 at whatever. No. Your name or whatever, something professional. If it's just your name, last name, first name, initial, last name, whatever, at Gmail, whatever, not AOL, Lord, I'm telling my age. Your Apple address, whatever it is. I got a Gmail, so at gmail.com. Make sure your email is professional. I'll get it out. My mind got distracted outside, so my mind is somewhere else. Also, your phone number, when you use your cell phone number or your house phone, normally people use their cell phone, make sure your greeting is professional. They don't want to hear your ringback tones or, any kind of music, even gospel music. Just keep it professional. Hi, you've reached so-and-so. Even if it's the automated, message that comes on. Make sure, because you're going to have people calling you, professional people calling you for interviews, and you want to put your best foot forward and make a good impression. So make sure you do that. Education, again, I would just list where you went to school and what degree you received. And you can put what year you graduated. I just don't. If you're a new graduate, yeah, but I'm older. So I don't ever want that to work against me, that they feel I'm too old and they don't hire me. And again, I'm saying it's not legal, but people do it. And then I would say, when you go into the meat of your experience, be brief but provide detail. I know that's like, well, how can you do both? But you can. I would do bullet points or short summaries with just a couple of sentences. If once you just want to grab their attention, get them to read it, when you get in your interview is when you can really explain what you did. I caution you again, don't make it too long because they're not going to read all of it. Try to stick to the job that you're looking for and relating your experience to how you will be a good fit for what you're applying for. Any other jobs, I would not include them if they're over 10 years. If you've been in the working field a little shorter than that, shorter time frame, you can include your job experience because you're building your resume. And add memberships in professional organizations. Stay away from social and Greek organizations. In my opinion, it's your choice, but I'm just from my experience, I would not do that. And then any other things you want to note at the bottom, references, etc., you could put available upon request, and then that you can provide that should you get an interview. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Resumes are tricky. Some people pay to get your resume done, and I don't think that's a bad idea. Just be sure that person that you're paying knows what they're doing and has a good track record of writing resumes. I wouldn't It wouldn't be a bad thing to have a friend look over it, especially if you know someone that's in a professional position that hires folks. Have them take a look. I've had a look at some of my students' resumes, that they've asked me to do. So that's not a bad thing. Always have somebody look over it to make sure you don't have any typos, or they may say this is too wordy or you need to change this. It's always good to have a second eye to look over it. So I think I touched on everything, but if I missed anything and you guys have questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll definitely get back to you. And also, I'm still plugging through my list of requests, but if there's a topic that you want covered that you don't know or think that I may be covering or have covered, put that down below. I'll be glad to add to the series for you. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope it's helpful. And again, if you have questions, let me know. Please share this with a friend. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next week in the next HR series, episode 5. Bye, guys.